Okay, and I think we're live on air now. So I will just do the pop out the chat routine so I can talk to people. See who's in. Oh, Alexander was here but had to leave. Oh, there you go. You can leave comments before I'm even here. The musical aviator was here. So yes, this is what I say. I think I'm live now. That's good. And Patman Sport, good evening to you. Yes, we'll got lots of things I want to practice tonight. And hello, philosopher, um, because I may well not make many videos this week because of being involved with things at the Melbourne Web Festival of Web-Based Video. So I'm probably going to be out on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, and Sunday night for that matter. So yes, not so much here. So not really many opportunities to go live. Hello, Venice. I just have to decide if I want to give up a day's pay to go to the industry events they have on Friday. See, the complication for me is I'm a contractor, so if I don't go to work, I don't get paid. But it sounds like some of the stuff on Friday could be quite good. Is it worth losing a day's pay? I don't know. I've got a couple days to decide still. Oh, thank you, Venice. I had a perfectly reasonable day at work. Thank you very much. Just the usual, me writing documents. That's what I do at work. Stuff about business requirements and writing up business processes. I do a business. I'm like the three kids in a trench coat on BoJack Horseman. I spend all day at the business factory. Hey, Connor, how's it going? Yeah, the long-time fans would be excited at the Code Grey idea. So yes, I'm entering, and I'll probably end up telling this a dozen times during this live stream, but that's okay. I'm entering what they call a pitching competition to try and get some funding to develop a script for a web series, and the web series I'm pitching is Code Grey, the series. Again, long-term fans know that was AIDzee's stage show. He performed at the Melbourne Comedy Festival a few years ago. We did put it, and along with some rehearsal stuff, up on YouTube. But we've had the idea for a while of rewriting it as a web series. We've tried to get funding once or twice before, but this competition came up as part of the Melbourne Web Fest. They advertised if you made a 30-second video pitching your idea, they would come up with a short list of the ones they liked most, and those people get to do a 2-minute pitch live on stage on Saturday in front of an audience and 2 judges. Yes, whoever impresses them the most wins $5,000 and an invitation to go to the WebFest in Marseille, in France, later in the year. And where the idea is just using the $5,000 to get there and attend a thingy. So that's my big exciting project. I've got until Saturday to refine the pitch I do for Code Grey. And yeah, I thought, among other things, because we always talk and ramble in these live streams, but I thought among other things, I might do a few test runs of my pitch. And in fact, I'd be interested to find out, people who know AIDzee stories, what your favorite AIDzee story is that you think should maybe be included in the pitch. And hello, Philly and Silla. Nice to see you. I might just do a little thing and say on Facebook that people should come and join just in case someone sees it. Hey, come and join me for a live stream. I'm going to practice pitch for the Code Grey. I have to say it out loud. I was kind of awful. I'll put the link in. No, that's not right. That. And then I will post that. And Facebook's algorithm will probably hide it because Facebook is a sack of shit. Batman is doco or drama. It's a fictionalized version of AIDzee's story. And hello, Charlie, Game of Frost, and Tara. So AIDzee, he actually, speaking of getting funding to do a show, there's a thing that happens in the Melbourne Comedy Festival every year that they call, it's the Moosehead Awards, I think. I think it's the Moosehead Awards. And it's basically, they want to support a show that may not be a very mainstream show, but has artistic merit. And so, yeah, comedians basically pitch their show idea to a panel, and AIDzee pitched his life story, Code Grey, and he got funding. He got the Moosehead Award. Meant he did his show in Melbourne Town Hall, in one of the smaller rooms in Melbourne Town Hall. It's quite successful. It was a very good show, and so it's comedy, but because it's the story of his medical misadventures, up to and including death, it's got some dramatic moments as well. So we would definitely be playing up the comedy. If people wanted to know, is it comedy or drama? It's definitely comedy with dramatic elements. I'm going to drink. Look, I've got a really foamy drink because I mixed it with this stuff I bought at the supermarket called Mango Milk. I just got it on spec. I had no idea what it was. I was like, oh, it's like an Asian beverage at the supermarket. It's not bad, and it's kind of what it sounds like. It's like, seems to be a mango flavored milk based drink in a can. And I've mixed it with stuff, and it's so it did mix in. Now you can see it's separated a bit. It tastes pretty good though. It's a bit like a milkshake. So yeah, I added like lemonade to it. It's a bit like a milkshake now. It's nice. I like it. So I think everyone are asleep. You may well be right. We've got to pick up steam. Only been going 10 minutes. Yeah, for us, have I been busy? Been reasonably busy. I mean, just work keeps me busy. And certainly wasn't busy on the weekend. I took it very easy on the weekend, just chilled out. The youngest Angry had some of his mates over on Saturday night, so hosting some 18-year-olds on Saturday night. But they're all very quiet, just like playing computer games, video games most of the time. But I've been quiet. But yeah, then I realised last night I probably should do a bit more prep work for this pitching competition. And so I thought, okay, well, freeform, see how far I go. And I basically went into my bedroom and started going, hey, everybody, this is the story of AIDzee Code Grey. And I ran out of steam after about 30 seconds. which not great, because I've got to go for 2 minutes. So then I sat down and madly writing notes. Then I wrote a bunch of notes, and then I did it again, and then I wrote down much more than 2 minutes worth. So that was a relief. So now I've just got to work out the high points and put them in. Yo, Frankie, how's it going? Oh, it was nice. You saluted the Union Jack whilst God Save the Queen was playing. Where were you? Outside Buckingham Palace or something? Tendo, yes, I did hear that Harley Davidson was moving at least some of its operations out of the US to try and not be hit by European tariffs, which are, the trade war Trump started because he's a fucking moron. Oh, Tara, it's your house that's asleep. I see what you mean. Really, other people aren't asleep here. Just before coming in, Mrs. Angry and young Ms. Angry were watching 24 Hours in Emergency, one of those real life shows where they have 24 hours in the emergency ward at the busiest hospital in London, and just the various ew. It's like some guy's cut himself with a circular saw. Some poor little kid, like 5-year-old kid, has been hit by a car and might be severely injured. They're running these tests on him, and well, so it's a lovely human interest. But then every now and then, like after dancing around it for ages, they did actually show the gash this guy got in his leg from a circular saw, and it was fucking awful. And there's this huge cry of ew. Game of Frost. You go to bed. You got milking tomorrow morning. Yeah, man, that is your early morning job. Having grown up in the country, that was a notorious one. Anyone who was on a farm who had to organise milking, that was getting up well early in the morning to do that. Oh, Pat Man, did anything come from the racist potatoes glib spill? Not yet. Look, for those who are too sensible to pay attention to Australian politics, it's really funny. The government and quite a few people in the media have been trying to play up that one prominent member of the opposition party, made a big impassioned speech about what we need to do, blah, 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 and they're trying to paint that as, ooh, he's threatening his leader because he's not leader, and he's trying to big note himself, so he's trying to knock off the leader. And he isn't. But the leadership tensions in the actual government are huge. Oh, Game of Frost, I got that wrong. You've actually got the morning off. I see. Okay, I understand now. I'm never quite sure when people write things exactly what it means. Yeah, I've got to try and mix my drink. Oh, there you go. There you go. Let's mix it up a bit. Tara, your dad had a chainsaw cut into his shoulder. Oh my God. My brother's a paramedic and he's stationed in a country town. And the difference between ambulance and paramedic work in the city and ambulance and paramedic work in the country. In the city, they're very busy all the time. Lots of accidents, lots of drug-related calls, a lot more violence. In the country, it's much quieter, but when they get called out, it's more often an extreme case, like a really serious highway accident, it's his farm accident. And you made me think of this, Tara, the chainsaw. My brother told this one story. They called out to a farm where guy on the farm had been using a chainsaw and the chain broke, and the chain whipped around and gashed him really badly. And it was out of town. Like, it took them half an hour to get there, and they're like doing triage while they're there, and they realise that, oh my God, this guy's bleeding so much. He's probably got about 20 minutes, and it took us half an hour to get here. And his family's all looking at them like, save my dad. And they're like, fuck it. And they just like did as much as they could to stop the bleeding, strapped him in, and then just fanged it on these little country roads about twice as fast as they should have. And they got him to the hospital and saved him. Yeah. Scipio, do I think capital punishment would be a deterrent against rapists and murderers? No, historically it hasn't been. We have a lot of historical evidence to suggest that capital punishment is not deterrent at all. It's, you know, if you want to do it as a punitive thing, then be honest and say, I want to be punitive and kill serious criminals. But it isn't a deterrent. We have abundant evidence that it isn't a deterrent. You got good news. About to do a vexatious litigant Supreme Court case. Wow. Okay. Geez, that's full on. Yeah. All right. Yeah, catch you later, Game Frost. Look after yourself, man. Oh, yeah? Drop in occasionally. Tell us what's happening in your movie. What movie are you watching, just out of interest? Yeah. Wow, Hammer, that sounds really interesting. It's a case, someone had a case against you for being mean on Facebook. Oh, a family member. Oh, my God. And you got legal aid. So, wow, okay. You're a drama in the courtroom. Wow, we might see you on the news. That is a dramatic sounding case. And I hope it goes well for you. Oh, Pat Man, how big a swing will Labor get at the next election? I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10%, I reckon, personally. Like, I reckon the government's done like a dinner. I mean, it's not, you know, it's absolutely not a done deal. Anything could happen. But I think the swing to Labor's going to be quite significant. And the government's going to lose a lot of seats. If Labor are smart, they won't give away their tactics too far ahead of the election, but they'll go in really hard and really different. Game Frost, watching Jurassic World. We'll have fun, man. Okay. Toby, what is this pitch? Well, I'm going to do it soon, actually. So you'll see. Hero, so they don't give a shit. To Mum brings the docs and the cops. Oh dear. It sounds dramatic, dude. Video games are fun. Hello. Yeah, umming and erring about VidCon. I really enjoyed VidCon Australia last year. I do actually recommend it. I mean, it's going to be down to you, but I found after VidCon last year, I felt sort of really invigorated and enthused, and I really liked seeing everyone. In fact, and even just, I got to see a bunch of my YouTube friends that I hadn't seen in ages. So I personally had a good time and would recommend it. But it's going to be down to what it is you want out of it. Hey, yeah, Toriana, Code Grey web series, definitely. Oh, and yes, Toby Talk Celticing, we all love him too. That's all good. All right, so I'm gonna do this a couple times during the night and get people's feedback, and because I need to practice this a couple times. I need to do a 2-minute pitch. I'm just bringing up my stopwatch, basically. I need to do a 2-minute pitch on AIDzee Code Grey, the web series. I've got to do this to an audience and to judges, and to try and win a prize, win money for the development of a script. So picture, if you will, I'll be on a stage and I'll have like a slide up, and it's a cartoon a friend Dave Blumenstein did of AIDzee that we used in the Code Grey show. It's like a nude cartoon of AIDzee with all his major injuries pointed out. And because that is, of course, the central thing of Code Grey, or AIDzee's injuries and illnesses. Batman, do I get filmed doing it? I do not know. Given that it's a web festival, I think there's a reasonable chance they'll be recording it. But I actually don't know that for sure. Oh, okay. Frankie, you had to rewind to know my question. You're saluting. You just have the Union Jack at work on a broomstick as a makeshift flagpole. Well, and you got to play God Save the Queen as well, so that's okay. Video games. You're playing Mario Tennis on Switch. Nice, nice. Well, this is good. This sort of thing can happen in the background. All right. So I'm gonna set my timer, and this is not going to be as full on as I'll do it. Like it'll be very big. Like I'm not going to shout in here. When I do it on stage, I'll probably be shouting. So I'll. All right. I've got my notes. I'm just going to give it a go, and we'll see how this goes. Thank you, everyone. I'm here to pitch to you the story of AIDzee Code Grey. The image you see here represents AIDzee's life, the injuries and the scars that illness has inflicted on him. And I show this to you for two reasons. One, it is literally the only way I could stop him from coming out nude himself to show you the scars. Two, this is our story. This is what we want to learn. How did this happen? AIDzee has broken bones. He's been stabbed. He's been shot. He was in fact shot by Iraqis before it was trendy. He's driven his car into a lake and drowned. He's been buried alive. He contracted rheumatoid arthritis, which partially crippled him and ended his live stand-up career. Stand-up career that included his most amazing gig, where he performed to thousands of people, and his weirdest gig, where he performed to 3 people in a room. But beyond that, he reformed himself as a director of comedy, and then just when his career was taking off again, he was struck down with a form of flesh-eating virus that has a 95% fatality rate. It's known as Fournier's gangrene, and I'll do you a solid now. Although I've mentioned it to you, do not look it up. You're here with your smart devices. You could go and Google an image of Fournier's gangrene. You will regret it if you do. Don't do it. But I want the funding to develop AIDzee Code Grey because this is a story you need to know. This man is a medical miracle, possibly protected by Satan himself. We'll never know. But if you get to see AIDzee Code Grey, the web series, you will find out not just the story of AIDzee, but you'll find out about flappy dogs, because he's the only person who's ever seen a flappy dog. Admittedly, he was on ketamine at the time, but you'd have to subscribe to see the web series to hear it all. Okay, that was 2 minutes. Oh, no, I don't mind that. That was okay. Whew. Okay, so that is basically what I'm going to pitch. Scipio Africanus. The only reason I know what that's a reference to is from reading Asterix comics. When Julius Caesar had a civil war with Scipio, who was in charge of the legions in Africa. That was, I just did my first rehearsal. Phil, yes, flappy dogs, damn it. Oh, Toby, when was AIDzee shot? AIDzee grew up in Canberra, and of course all the embassies in Canberra, and of course an embassy is when you're inside the embassy. That's technically, not Australia. That is the sovereign territory of that country, and they are theoretically not subject to the laws of Australia. The cops can't go in there. And so it became known to AIDzee and his mates. He's still like a teenager at this time. It became known to AIDzee and his mates that at the Iraqi embassy in the garden out the back, they were growing a lot of dope. And it's just, just there waiting to be taken. And so he and his mates formulated the plan of jumping over the back fence and stealing some plants and jumping away, and none the wiser. And of course, the Iraqis weren't going to report anything because it was illegal. It was, it was a foolproof plan, apart from the fact this was the embassy of a military dictatorship, and they were a bit toey about security. And so when AIDzee and his mates jumped the fence, they triggered some alarms. And so they're out in the garden trying to steal some dope plants, and out come the guards with guns and shouting. AIDzee and his mates run, and AIDzee got shot in the leg as he was going over the fence. Now, he and his mates still think that was probably meant to be a warning shot, because as much as, you know, they can claim diplomatic immunity, they don't actually want to, like, seriously injure or kill anyone, because that's a lot of grief. But if it's a warning shot, it's like a really shitty warning shot. Because if it's a warning shot, the bullet can go anywhere not AIDzee. Like, there's only this little part of the world that's AIDzee, and the whole rest of the terrain not AIDzee. And the bullet should have gone somewhere not AIDzee, but the bullet went somewhere AIDzee through his thigh. AIDzee got shot, and then he tried to hide it from his parents. Like, the bullet went straight through, so they're like, "Oh, you're fine. It just went through like the fleshy part of your thigh." And he's, of course, bleeding and in horrible pain. And so they're trying to stop the blood flow, and they're like, they didn't want the cops to get involved, so he didn't want his parents to know he'd been shot. And so he tried to cover it up. Like, he could barely walk, and he'd lost a lot of blood, so he was really pale and sick. It was just like, it's like, dude, who does that? Who jumps the fence of the Iraqi embassy and gets shot? And that's why the joke we make about it is he got shot by Iraqis before it was trendy, because it was before the first Gulf War. It was before Bush 1's invasion of Iraq. So that's AIDzee's big claim to fame, that he got shot by Iraqis before it was trendy. But some of the stories, like stuff that really happened, like he'd been stabbed just because he used to get in fights in Canberra, where apparently everyone carries knives, and him and his friends were a bit wild, and they'd run into other, and he got stabbed multiple times. He broke various bones. Once when he was driving, probably too fast, probably under the influence of something, he went off the road and crashed his car into, it was either a dam or a lake, and the car sank before he could get out of it. And it was night, and so it was pitch. The interesting thing is it was pitch dark, and he's disoriented, and so there was no light anyway. So when he got out of the car, he was a swimmer, and so he could hold his breath for a long time. When he got out of the car, he didn't know which way was up. And this is fortunate. This is back in the day when people wore watches, and he had a either glowing dial on his watch or a light on it. And he worked out how to tell which way was up. Is he breathed bubbles across the face of the watch, and then he could see the bubbles, and the way the bubbles went was up. And so he's going, okay, that's up, go up. And so he survived that. And yeah, Scipio, this is a real guy. This whole story is on YouTube, and he stays show Code Grey. I think, oh, is that one of the other ones I mentioned? He got buried alive. That was his dad's fault. That was his dad's fault. His dad, as a plumber and a cheap bastard, and when you're digging trenches, like to lay the pipes, they're going deep underground. This is a trench about 2-3 meters deep. So yeah, 10 feet deep. And AIDzee's down there. And while he was still down there, they started breaking down the barriers. There's like wooden barriers on the side. And that's to stop the trench from collapsing while you're working on it. And as AIDzee said, his old man was so cheap that he didn't have enough of the barriers for the whole trench. So they were taking them out of the bit that they'd finished working on and were going to move them up ahead. But they were doing that while AIDzee was still in the trench. And the entire thing collapsed while he was in there. And he's buried under several tons of dirt. But it's not solid packed, and he could actually still breathe, although the weight was crushing, making it very hard to breathe. I think he covered his face, so he had a little bit of air pocket, so he could breathe a tiny bit. And so they're, oh my God, he's down there, blah, blah, blah. So they're getting, and because it was so deep, they're not just digging in trouble. So they got one of the graders to start taking dirt out. And they had to be really careful because, of course, if they went too deep, this big metal blade would just rip AIDzee in half. So they dug out as much as they thought was safe, and then they jumped in and started scrabbling by hand. And he said that the most terrifying bit was when he could hear the grader above him, because he was really worried they'd dig too deep and like rip him in half. But they got him out and he survived. He was very upset. He was very upset at his dad being a cheap bastard causing it. And AIDzee still, in fact, has claustrophobia because who knew? Who knew being buried alive would give you claustrophobia? It does, apparently. So he still has claustrophobia as a result of that one. So I could also throw in something lighter, of course. I didn't mention when he accidentally starred in a porno, which is a nice claim to fame, accidentally starring in a porno. Toby Kilter King asks if I got any random letters. The post office is meant to send me a notification if I've got mail, and they haven't sent me any notifications, but that system has failed before. I have to remember to go and check my mail. I might do that when I'm in for the Melbourne Word Fest, because I don't work in the city anymore. I work out in the suburbs. So it's a real drag to go into the city. But I need to check my mail. I'll probably get some comics. I feel the story about when his jaw was rotted away. Yeah, well, that was a later effect of the very severe illness, the flesh-eating virus. Although he survived the Fournier's gangrene, it did an enormous amount of damage to his body. Basically, the infection went septic and poisoned his body. This is what killed him, but he came back. The infection poisoned his blood, so his blood was septic, and that started poisoning all his organs. Like all his organs were about to liquefy from the infection that was spreading through his body. But although he recovered, an enormous amount of damage has been done to various parts of his body, to his organs, to his circulatory system. And because he had rheumatoid arthritis, he's got a lot of damage to all his joints. Also, the treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, the treatment he got was chemotherapy. So the chemo damaged his immune system because, well, chemo is meant to keep your immune system under control. But yeah, he's got damage to his immune system, so he's really susceptible to infections, which is probably why he got the flesh-eating virus or bacteria, whatever it was. But he gets a lot of cancerous infections, not like necessarily like out of control cancer, but tumors, infections. And he had one in his jaw that was making all his teeth rot, as people picked on him for a year or two because all his teeth were rotting when he was doing videos with me. He eventually had them all pulled out. Now he has a lovely false teeth. Because the infection in his jaw was killing his teeth, and it was rotting his jaw. So they had to do surgery, and they cut out a bit of his jaw. Luckily, they were worried they were taking the whole thing. So he'd be like that movie critic Roger Ebert. But yeah, so that was the most recent serious thing with his jaw. Although now he's got the thing that's causing him pain and illness, damage to his circulatory system, is causing all sorts of problems. And apparently, there's no treatment for that, which really sucks. Luke, it's 2 Celsius in Adelaide. I think it's a bit warmer here, up to about 5 Celsius overnight here in Melbourne. Oh yeah, Toriana, that was. I don't think AIDzee quite understood how severe his illness was. Like he was in an induced coma. He got to hospital. Apparently, even though he didn't think it was that bad, apparently it was within about an hour or so of it being too late. If he'd been like an hour later, he just would have died. There would have been nothing they could have done. He woke up from the induced coma. Like, I think it was like about a week in an induced coma, and he knew he was sick. But he thought, God, I must be really sick because they're giving me A, the good drugs, and B, every doctor and every intern and every student is here all the time looking at me. And he mentioned it one day about how many people are looking at him. And one of the interns made the bad bedside manner mistake of just letting slip why everyone was so fascinated with him. He said, "Oh, we've never seen this in a live port, but we've never seen this in a live patient before. No, normally we only see this post-mortem." Like this thing that AIDzee had, which had a 95% fatality rate. Normally they only ever see it in someone who's already dead. And AIDzee going, "All right, no one told me that." And all the senior doctors were very annoyed at the intern for telling AIDzee that. But yeah, I talked to AIDzee yesterday. He's not the best, but he's very excited by the pitch for Code Grey. He's very excited at the idea we'll get to make it, that we could get funding. I mean, the competition is not for that much. Like the prize is $5,000, and you're meant to use that to go to a webfest later in the year in Marseille, France, and attend their writing workshops. The idea is, you're developing the script further. But the sponsor of the competition is ABC iView. Apparently, it's the 10th anniversary of ABC iView. And while there's no guarantees, obviously, if you go well, there's a chance that you might get funded further to develop it and get it aired on ABC iView, which would be a cool thing. Yes, Rick is saying Code Grey means a violent patient, a violent and or threatening patient. And AIDzee went Code Grey a couple times on doctors who pissed him off, because he felt very poorly treated by doctors from time to time. I'll tell you, what am I drinking? This is a very tropical drink, actually. I mixed one, saying earlier, I got this thing from the supermarket that I got on spec. It was called mango milk. Ooh, someone who doesn't want to be seen is sneaking into the room with a hood on. I'm the only one who likes to show off in front of strangers in the house. So, yes, Mrs. Angry is all hooded up so she won't be seen even in the reflection. My daughter is actually pretty clever at it. If she wants to get something out of the fridge, she's learned how to just hang her head at an angle so her hair hangs over her face and you don't see her as she goes around. I think that's quite clever. Toriana, it would make a very good series, so yeah. Remember one of the stories AIDzee told you, Phil? He started a conga line at the box office to kill time. He's a character. I mean, there are various things. Like I made a reference to AIDzee and Flappy Dogs, which for a lot of people is one of their favorite stories about AIDzee, because he was so sick. He was on very serious medication. So on morphine. He was on ketamine at one point, which is prone to make you have hallucinations. And so when he, after several days of medically large doses of ketamine, surrounded by visitors, pointed out his window and went, "Look on the roof there. There are Flappy Dogs." No one paid any attention to him, which made him very angry because it was important. And he was too drugged up to realize he was saying something that made no sense. There's no such thing as Flappy Dogs, and they certainly wasn't one outside the window. And he was so drugged up, no one was bothering to pay attention to him, which he found quite fair. Scipio, should AIDzee be in the next Underbelly? He worked for Crims back in the 80s when he was still a teenager. His crew in Canberra worked for Crims, and he has some very, very colourful stories about working for Crims, not least where they let's just say were transporting product to Queensland, Brisbane, and this was in the Bjelke-Petersen regime, where the cops were really fascist thugs, and they could do you over just by being in a group of 3 or more. So when they're up there, they were given all these really strict instructions: dress well, don't cause trouble, don't stand around in groups. You need to stay under the radar of the cops. So he actually has a few interesting underbelly type stories. Oh, Charlie, read a couch through a time vortex, too much ketamine. Yeah, I think possibly any ketamine could be too much. This thing. The other thing AIDzee did on ketamine, when in the depths of it, he's in the depths of the K-hole, as he says. This was not long after he got out of the induced coma. So he's got tubes everywhere coming out of him. And he woke up and he was really thirsty. He was on a nil by mouth thing, and he like buzzed the thing and said, I need a drink of water. And then I said, I can't give you a drink of water, you're on nil by mouth. And he's like, ugh. But he's off on his own little planet. And in the very wee hours of the morning, he's lying in bed with God knows how many tubes coming out of his body. He's going, no, there's a bathroom just there. I'll just go just over there and get a drink of water and it'll be fine. But he's got all these tubes sticking out of him. And someone had left a pair of nail clippers on the bedside table. And he's like, that'll work. And then he spends 15, 20 minutes cutting himself out of all these tubes that are sticking into various veins in his body. So, of course, when he cuts them, blood starts, but that doesn't bother him. He's like, no, that one's free. That's free. He spends like 15, 20 minutes cutting himself out of all these tubes and then shuffles over to the bathroom and has a drink of water and then shuffles back and he's going, the perfect crime, except that he's trailed blood all the way across his room. And the nurses come in and, oh my fucking God, what's happened? And he's going, what? Nothing. I've been here. And not only did he trail blood everywhere, he's lying in bed with just all these cut tubes hanging out of him that are still trailing blood. And he's going, what are you looking at me for? I didn't do anything. So then he was restrained. He then had several days of being strapped down. He was restrained in his bed because he couldn't be trusted. He's just the misadventures when he was in hospital very much. Chapman, you got to go. Thanks for dropping by, man. Okay, well, I hope it all works for you. I will be fascinated to hear what happens in your court case. Oh, yes, Toriana, that's right. He told that story in one of the live streams, our accidentally taking an old lady's car that he thought was meant to be his transport car, and felt really bad, so took it back. Jamie, you think you'll be on the news in a couple of months when the case is over? Tara, how did an alarm go off? Yeah, well, if he didn't, he mustn't have had a monitor on. It was just tubes. Like, he mustn't have had any sort of monitor on. Because, yeah, no alarms went off when he did this shit. God, what else did he do when he was in hospital? Like, he's a real manipulator. You know, have you ever heard, like, when people talk about, you know, hackers have to be good social engineers as well? Like, if you want to get into systems, it's not just about how well you can hack computer systems. You have to be able to hack people as well. You have to be able to manipulate people. And he's very good at that. So he was always trying to get people in the hospital to do things the way he wanted them done. Toby, you got to go. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. I will pass on your regards and regards from Celtic King to everyone. And yes, AIDzee is indeed a sexy man. But yes, you're so spoiled for choice on the article. So I feel I was about to say that one, actually. Story when AIDzee punched a nun. This is back in the deep, dark past in Bathurst. That's where we both went to college. I'm trying to remember why he did it. He was withdrawing from something. It could have been as simple as tobacco. He may have been coming down from substance. I don't remember the exact circumstance, but basically he was a bit testy and strung out. And in his mind, he was accosted by a nun. Now, apparently, he looked terrible. He was just all bedraggled and dirty, and he looked homeless and quite deranged. And the nun was showing concern. And I was like, oh, yeah, man. And he just saw that as the nun being up in his face, and she would like, and he actually punched her. Not good. And he was arrested, and the cops were going to go real hard on him, but the nun wouldn't press charges because when he was a bit less strung out, I feel you're saying it was tobacco withdrawal. When he was a bit less strung out, he sincerely apologised profusely to the nun, and she goes, "No, he's just a young man who made a mistake. I don't want him going to jail." So she wouldn't press charges. So he got away with punching a nun. Rick is saying you've seen AIDzee in his pants, confirming sexiness. Yeah, well, like I said, because I videoed the Code Grey show where he did a nude scene every night. Yes, no secrets, and also because part of the thing was they marked his various injuries in Texter, and he did the whole show in a hospital smock. And just before going on stage, his co-performer would draw all the texter lines on his nude body and then go out. It's like, oh, okay, oh, yeah. But we did a thing, and this is on the YouTube video as well, where it was AIDzee Nude. The friend Dave Blumenstein did a cartoon version of AIDzee Nude, but also in case even that was too much for people, they made this prop as like, you know, little sculpture of a cat and this wheel you spin that's like balls. So it looked like the cat was juggling balls. You spin it, and it's kind of like, okay, so this is AIDzee. We're going to point and show you his various injuries. If that's too much for you, just look at the cartoon. And if that's too much for you, just look at the cat. Just look at the cat juggling the balls. So in the YouTube video, how you can choose paths. The Code Grey thing stops at this point and says there are three things now you can choose: either to stay here and just see AIDzee Nude, or click here to just see the AIDzee cartoon, or click here to just see the cat juggling balls. If it's all too much for you, so. Because it can be too much. I mean, AIDzee has made people faint just by telling them in graphic detail some of the things that have gone wrong with him. His descriptions were a bit too colourful and a bit too precise and a bit too descriptive, and he has made people faint. So yeah, sometimes it is too much. I mean, possibly my favourite bit in Code Grey, where he builds up to where he died on the operating table. And he'd already died once, like he'd flatlined once, and they resuscitated him. But they actually believed, because he was in the induced coma, they worried he'd suffered both from the infection and from lack of oxygen for a period. They were worried that he had brain damage and a lot of internal damage that he wouldn't recover from. So they'd actually decided if he flatlined again, they weren't going to resuscitate him. It was like, let the poor bugger die, you know. So it builds up to this in the stage show where he goes, there, was in there, and all my organs started to fail. The poison in my blood had moved through my system, and I died. And the stage went black. And one night, because he really takes the audience along for the ride, they're really involved in the story. And one night when he did this bit, he said, and I died. And the stage went black. The audience was usually dead silent. But I heard, like one girl there say, oh no. And there's a little whispering. And we found out afterwards, because we talked to this couple after the show. She thought and went, oh no, what have you done? And she said, I couldn't help it. I was so upset. I love the story so much. And it was so unfair that you died. I was so upset. And when I went, no, then my boyfriend went, he gets better. And she goes, what do you mean? How do you get better from dying? He's on stage. He's on stage now. He's on stage. He clearly got better. And she was so absorbed in the story. All that happened was she got carried up to the point he died. And she just thought, that's so unfair. Why did he die? And it actually, she couldn't get through to the point of, no, he's not dead. He's on stage. Hey, Josie, how you going? So, yes, he is quite the storyteller. But then again, he has very good material, namely his life. Yes, he's got things. See, they're not all medical stories. Like I said, because he was a stand-up comedian for years, he has stories of like a gig that just went insanely, unbelievably well at a rock festival, where he was meant to do a 5-10 minute spot between bands, and then something technically went wrong with the next band, and he had to stay on stage for half an hour, for which he was not prepared, and he had to freeform and go, and it just went unbelievably well, and he made so much money, and then got invited to an orgy afterwards. So, you know, it's a pretty good gig. Josie, am I going to the Webfest parties? I am almost definitely going to the party they have on Thursday night and Friday night. And I think, is there a wrap on Sunday night? But Saturday night, I will, after the pitching competition, I will probably go out with Mrs. Angry in the fine city of Melbourne. Find a nice cocktail bar, somewhere to have dinner, something like that. But yes, I think they've got the launch party on Thursday night, which I'll go to, and then yeah, I think there's a party on Friday night. I probably won't go to a party on Saturday night, but if there's one on Sunday night, I'll go. Yes, it's going to be pretty busy. Party, network partying on Saturday. Oh, you'll have to network for me, Josie, because I shall be putting date night with Mrs. Angry ahead of it. And like for her to go, because you have to have a ticket for the day to go to the party. So that would be like $100 to go to the party, which is probably not worth it. So we will. Geez, maybe it would be worth it, because if we're going out for, I don't know. I haven't made a final decision. That's right, Josie. Sunday nights after party afterwards. Yes. So the pitching competition I'm in is on Saturday afternoon, evening, but they're not announcing the winners of the pitching competition until the awards presentation on Sunday night. Phil, AIDzee's mentioned he has 5 levels of charm. Yes, when he really has to, he does what he calls the charm offensive, where he can basically get anyone on his side. So those video games, you beat the Reflection Room and Mario Tennis Aces. I have not played that, but I like the various Mario games. They do have a Switch. So I might get that at one point. I actually just got, because I was picking up something for my daughter from an EB game. She wanted there's been a release of Kingdom Hearts. It's like one disc that has every version of Kingdom Hearts there's ever been, and she's working her way. And she's played the old ones before, but she's gonna play through all of them. And because the sale, one of the regular sales was on EB, and there's some very cheap ones. I got Mafia 3 for like $20. I haven't played it yet. I might get to play it sometime later. But yeah, that's the one where you get to kill the Ku Klux Klan. The one that upset all the right wingers. Right wingers go, we're picking on white people. Like, yeah, you know, the Klan are the bad guys. The Nazis are bad guys. It's like, what fucking world are we living in now? Why are you making Nazis bad? Why are you making the Klan bad? This is a war on white people. Fuck you, you racist shitbags. It's just the idea of even having to have that conversation with someone does my head in so much. What sort of weird, fucked up world do we live in where you have to explain to someone, yeah, no, actually, Nazis are the bad guys. Nazis are bad? The reason people say bad things about Nazis is Nazis are bad. It's really weird to have to explain that to people. It's absolutely surreal. Phil, am I going to get the Resident Evil 2 remake? Maybe, quite possibly, because I played a Resident Evil game a couple of years ago. I think it was on one of the Nintendo platforms, like with the Wii, whichever one was released for the Wii platform. And I quite enjoyed that. So I may well, you know, I've got a PS4 now, so I may well get the Resident Evil 2 remake. Tendai, yes, bash the fash, definitely. The thing I really enjoyed about the Resident Evil games, after you get playthrough, it was like a bonus where you got some super powerful weapon. And if you like, you could just go and play it through again, but with this super powerful weapon. And so it was so much fun going back, and because a couple sections were really fucking hard with lots of enemies and took ages to get through, and it was really fun to go back with this unstoppable weapon and just lay waste to all these motherfuckers who gave you such a hard time. Just going into this big arena where there's like dozens of enemies and just go woo and just blasting them all. That was really satisfying. I like that. Quote, Woody Guthrie's guitar did not say, this machine has civil discourse with fascists. So stop calling people Nazis. Stop behaving like Nazis. Stop being literal textbook Nazis, and maybe people will stop calling you Nazis. Stop following the Goebbels propaganda. Stop being white supremacists. Stop fucking suggesting eugenics should be national policy. For fuck's sake. Rukusen, a tofu unlockable. I don't know what that is. You know, having a drink. I have to make myself a drink. I have a drink. So I've got lemonade, and I have things I can mix lemonade with. Yeah, I should. Oh, Rukizan, literally playing as a giant block of tofu. Okay, I thought that may have been code for something, but no. The tofu unlockable is you play as a giant block of tofu. That is an interesting concept. Okay, what do I got? I'm going to look disco rum, Coca-Cola. Actually, I got this new drink. I might try that. Josie, you drinking red wine? Nice. I don't like wine. Just getting some ice. I got this stuff. I was in a bottle shop and I couldn't resist trying it. Oh. Hi, Freddie. This is fig liqueur. And very interesting bottle too. This is a square bottle, but see how thick the base is? Like this could, when the drink's gone, could be used in hand-to-hand combat. All right. My chair's being funny. Okay. Orexton, you're saying the process to unlock tofu is really hard. Okay. Ooh, Charlie doing homebrew cider. Nice. Lion spider. Yes, nothing wrong with drinking water. And as you say, it comes on tap. Josie, are you really affronted that I don't like wine? I don't drink wine at all. Don't drink wine, don't drink beer. What percentage is this? Yeah, it's not very strong. Okay, cool. I think this will make my drink purple. Well, actually, it looks kind of black. A little purple. All right. And pick my lemonade, step it up. Oh, I'm gonna have to mix it. No, I think I had a spoon. Yeah, I had a spoon here. Oh, Chapman, you got your printer in your room. Busy, busy. Understand that you're busy. Just gonna mix my drink now. The fig liqueur seemed quite thick, went straight to the bottom. Josie, you are right. Traditionally, wine is what the gods drank. I just don't like it. That's right. Like, that just looks really black on there. Slightly purpley. It's nice though. Like a fruity drink. Fig flavored. Video games. You weren't connected to the net while playing on your Switch. Oh no. Quickie said, "Oh, that's the description. To unlock the tofu scenario, you must have unlocked the fourth survivor, cleared the Leon A, Claire B storyline 3 times with an A ranking." My God. Yes, all the wine for you, Josie. Mind you, you're the evil person who told me about Little Fat Lamb. So, which, if you've never heard of it, is a drink from the devil. It's a really cheap alcoholic beverage that tastes like lolly water. And you can get this 1.25 litre bottle of it, which is like 7 or 8 drinks, for as cheap as $7. And some people point out you can get wine for cheaper than that. Yeah, but wine's wine, and not everyone can drink it. This stuff just tastes like fizzy drink. It's clearly aimed at teenagers, quite dangerous, but yeah. Jeremy saying the ancient Greeks and Romans drank watered down wine. Yeah, because of course the rumor was the fermentation and distillation processes of various alcohols tended to make wine and beer and other alcoholic beverages safer to drink than water before we had modern water treatment facilities. So yeah, everyone's always a bit drunk. Watered down beer, watered down wine. Oh, Charlie, you like the strawberry lime Little Fat Lamb? Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're good for making a punch. Very dangerous, and there, you do get the occasional moral panic in the media because I mean, there's no two ways about it. That drink is clearly aimed at teenagers who really don't like the taste of alcohol but want to get smashed, and you can drink heaps of this stuff easily. It's very sugary, very sweet drink. But yes, it's dodgy as hell. Yes, Josie, Jesus' blood is wine. This is an absolutely true thing that we've been told. It's so I love you get all these little jokes on Twitter and not. There's one where someone's quoting Jesus checking the bill at the Last Supper and going, okay, the roast, the salad. Oh my God, who ordered wine? Why would you order wine? I quite like that. Rick said, yes, I'm talking about Little Fat Lamb is of the devil. Lions, but I never drink mixed beer and vodka. Well, look, I'm gonna be the voice of reason here. All these stories that people have about mixing certain alcohols, it's not true. It's just the volume of alcohol you drink. And that's the thing, particularly when you're young and you're beer and vodka. It's not beer and vodka as bad. It's just the volume that you drank is very bad. So yeah. Oh, video game chat. Having yogurt for supper, you've heard it helps you sleep. Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard that. You tell. Blind spider. Bite someone's arm, claim religious freedom. That's an interesting concept. What religion involves arm biting? I mean, certainly some absurd things are claimed with religion as a defense. So, I mean, arm biting's probably not that big a leap, quite honestly. So, try your luck, I guess. I don't know. There are stranger religious practices. Oh yes, always drink responsibly. I'm very opposed to anyone who ever tries to pressure anyone into drinking, particularly binge drinking. It's yeah, drinking to excess, not good, not good at all. Yes, Phil, you are correct. If we form a religion that involves biting, AIDzee will be well into it. Well into it. Yes, musical elevator. I think you're right. It's not mixing beer and vodka that's the problem. It's drinking liters and liters of it that's the problem. Right. I'm going to have another practice of my AIDzee Code Grey pitch. You help me. So, and feel free to tell me if I'm missing out on one of your favorite AIDzee stories. I've got to practice this a lot between now and Saturday because I don't know that I can have notes with me, and I've got to make it sound natural. I've got to engage. It's not just the judges. I've got to engage the audience and get the audience on side. All right, so I'm going to set my timer again so I know that I'm doing this for 2 minutes, which I find quite easy to do now. Oh, and I literally just got a message from Jason, AIDzee's boyfriend, saying he wanted me to know that he's writing comedy like crazy. So yay! So I'm just practicing something now, and by tomorrow I might have something very different scripted by AIDzee. But that's cool. I'm going to go with the ideas I've written down now. Okay, so this is my pitch. Thank you, one and all. I'm here to pitch you the story, the frightening story of AIDzee Code Grey. True story that we've fictionalized to make more believable. The picture you see here is of Adrian Collier, known to one and all, friend and foe alike, as AIDzee. And marked on there are the scars life has given him, and they are many. He's broken bones. He's been stabbed. He's been shot. He was shot by Iraqis before it was trendy, by the way. He's drowned. He's been buried alive. He was struck down with rheumatoid arthritis at the height of his comedy career when he played to groups of thousands of people. When he tasted stardom, he was crippled almost permanently by this disease, and he built himself back up as a director. And then just when his career was about to take off again, he was struck down by a flesh-eating bacteria, necrotizing fasciitis, a particular form called Fournier's gangrene. And I warn you now, don't look that up. I'm doing you a solid. Now you're there, you've got your smart devices. You should be on them right now. I wonder what 40 years gangrene is. Don't, because you'll find Google images of 40 years gangrene and you'll only have yourself to blame. I'm telling you now. But what AIDzee learned from contracting this disease, which has a 95% fatality rate, is you can die and come back multiple times. Would you believe he died twice and came back? I don't blame you for not believing that, because he died 3 times and he's come back. And that's only part of his amazing story. Besides all these injuries, besides dying, I mean, he's still the only person who's ever seen a flappy dog. Admittedly, that's because he was on ketamine and flappy dogs don't exist as such. But to him, they're real, they're part of his story, and you can help me bring it to life. Yeah, that was 2 minutes. Feeling pretty good about this. But it'll be interesting because AIDzee is working on it. So we'll see. Celtic King, just AIDzee like Housos. I don't know how much he's into Paulie, what's his name stuff. I think all those things that guys done, Fat Pizza and Housos and various other things, I think they have their moments. They're funny. I'm not that into them, but I certainly think he has his moments where he's very funny. Look, you don't think AIDzee, you don't think I go to Frankston or Sunshine? I used to live in Sunshine, and I don't go to Frankston often. I'll put it that way. I think Star Wars Gaming. I'm like, okay, I've only done that like run throughs like 2 or 3 times. You've seen me do it twice here tonight. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to do it a lot and refine it and whatnot. Oh, I think Rory, Celtic King. Yeah, look, I think Housos has its moments. I'm not hugely into it, but was it? Which one of the movies? It might have been the Fat Pizza movie. There was just one line in it that cracked me up. With a guy saw the police sign, police now targeting, and we went from targeting speed belts to police now targeting Lebanese, and I snort laughed something severe when it came up. Thank you, Celtic King. We all love you too. Charlie doesn't pairing live in Frankston. I have no idea. It's a big old city. Who knows? Oh yeah, the full explanation for flappy dogs, which was this was AIDzee was he'd been in an induced coma. He was on really serious hospital grade drugs. He had visitors in his room. And he happened to look out the window of his room, and he could see the roof of another part of the building, flat roof, and it had air vents coming up, and there's like tar paper on the roof. And what had happened is a bit of tar paper had come up, been blown up by the wind, and was wrapped around one of these air vents, just a little pipe, and the tar paper was wrapped around this pipe and was flapping a bit. And AIDzee saw it, and in his drug-addled state, he thought it looked like a penguin. He thought there was a penguin on the roof of the hospital. But also in his drug-addled state, he didn't remember what penguins were called. And he's trying to remember what it's called, the thing that he can definitely see out there. And he can't remember penguin. And what his brain comes up with is flappy dog. And he pointed out the window and goes, oh my God, there's a flappy dog out there. And the people who were there didn't even look. They're like, yeah, sure, AIDzee. He's like, no, look, there's a flappy dog. And they're just like, yeah, sure, okay. And they're like not wasting their time looking. And he was really fronted like, why won't you look? What the flappy dog? Because his brain was so drug addled, he didn't even know flappy dogs aren't a thing. I mean, saying it, I'm pretty sure even if he'd said there's a penguin on the roof, no one would have looked because that's not likely to be real. And he wasn't saying there's something that looks like a penguin. He's like, no, it's a real penguin, but it's a flappy dog. So that's where flappy dogs are. You got to go flat battery tire. Okay, thanks, bye. Yes, and we've Luke. Charlie, you're right. No trolls so far. That they must have got bored. In fact, I was really, really disappointed in the trolls effort last week. CrossFitter, that is a good line. That a student doctor said they'd never seen this in a live patient. That you're right. That is. Oh yeah, and the amount spent on him was like. This is very good feedback. Thank you for this. Spend on him. Yes. That's the thing. Now that I'm comfortable, that 2 minutes. Like the first time I tried to do it, I stumbled after 30 seconds, which freaked me out a bit. Like, oh no, I can only do 30 seconds. Oh no! Then I just wrote stuff down and then you start to work through and go, oh no, 2 minutes. Run out of that real quickly. So yeah, those are very good suggestions, CrossFitter. Thank you for that. I like those quite a bit. Like I said, now apparently AIDzee is writing stuff too, so I'll have material from him by tomorrow. I should reply to Jace actually. Writing comedy like crazy is excellent. I don't know if you. Oh, what's this? Don't know if you'll be able to see this. This was a. I got sent this thing. This was a promotion at the supermarket, whereas kids were meant to stick their face through there and pose for a photo. And there's a rather deranged-looking AIDzee face there with Usain Bolt. Oh, I like that. But yeah. So yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good about this pitch. I think it's going to go well. It's going to be fun. I haven't done anything in front of an audience for a long time. Remember to have a good drink of water before going out. Don't want to get a dry throat. I'm going to have a bottle of water with me because, yeah, I haven't. Yes, Roxanne, I'm feeling good about the presentation. I haven't done like I've done a few open mics at comedy nights, not for ages, and I did one years ago, and I did it when I used to wear the mask, and I did it with the mask, and it clearly freaked the audience out. The mask and me shouting clearly actually scared the audience, and when I could see that I was scaring the audience, that worried me a bit, and my mouth went really dry. And people always talk about, when something's freaky, their mouth goes dry. I always thought it was just a figure of speech. Nah, my mouth just went dry, and it felt like my tongue swelled up. I'm going like, oh, la, 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 la. I was worried I wouldn't be able to keep talking because my mouth gone dry, and it felt like my tongue had swollen up, and I still had to go for a couple of minutes. That was really intense. Oh, video games. Ah, you done stage acting. Nice. Yeah, it's funny because the couple of times I did stand up at open mic, Mrs. Angry went along to support me, and I wasn't nervous. I had a good time, but she was really nervous for me, and she found it really stressful. So she might do one of her psychological techniques to not be nervous for me on Saturday. I reckon you got a gig coming out for your new band. What is, because I remember you going on Facebook about starting up a band and you've been posting pics of rehearsal and whatnot. That's exciting. You're going to do a live gig. You're rocket, dude. It's fun getting out there and doing stuff. I'm completely unmusical, so I'll never be in a band. And I can't sing either. So, that's right out. But yeah, who knows if the pitch competition goes well, like if I enjoy doing that to an audience, I don't know, maybe it'll give me the bug for live performance again. Maybe I'll go on open mic things again. Or example, playing in Penrith. Rock on, dude. Oh no, Bureau, you've only got to say twice. Yeah, it can be very, very scary. Luke, yeah, I could rap. Yeah, that's what the world needs. Another white rapper. I could do that. Oh, Bureau, you had to improvise, and you did awesome. Excellent. Good job, you. Oh, yeah, I've done a lot of improvisation where I met AIDzee. It was at college, where we both did the same theatre degree. We did a lot of improvisation. Lends itself very well to YouTube, in fact, all the improvisation stuff we learned. So, and also working without a budget, which is what we did at college. It was also good training for YouTube, having to do YouTube stuff with no budget. So, it's really quite weird how well our uni course suited doing stuff for YouTube, because this was many years before YouTube existed. Ha! Where you played an incompetent and cocky replacement dentist who ended up pulling the wrong tooth out. I played an incompetent doctor in one play. We did. We used to do all sorts of styles. We'd do Shakespeare, we'd do modern plays, and I was in one was medieval Italian play, Commedia dell'arte, famous play called The Imaginary Invalid, where I was a very incompetent doctor, um, where I had a very apothecary who is every prescription I gave was an enema. My apothecary would administer them. We had this huge stage prop, it was like a giant syringe that actually worked. You could fill it with water and go and squirt water. Uh, it's yes, that was fun. Fiora, you improvised diving on the patient who was sitting in the chair and fell over. Yes, you made sure to protect the guy's head. That's good. Yes, well, and I did another, again, another medieval play with AIDzee, in fact. He was like my sidekick, and it was very physical, this thing. And he was meant to kick me in the bum, which the idea was that gave me an idea, my brain's in my ass. And so he's meant to kick me in the bum, and I go, aha, I've got an idea. And when you do that at stage, his foot's meant to go really flat, like my bum's here, and the instep of his foot is meant to go really flat against my bum, and it doesn't hurt. And one night, like we're in front of the audience, and I don't know, he just completely misjudged everything and got his angle wrong. And his foot just came, instead of going flat against my bum, his toe came up between my legs and kicked me square in the balls. And I was like in front of an audience, and I had to act like he hadn't just really hurt me. And because straight after he did that, I normally would tap him on the shoulder and go, "You've got a point there." And so I was going, "You've got a point." And I went, "Pow!" and punched him really hard. And he told me afterwards, when his foot went wrong, it's like he knew his foot was going wrong when it went up there, and he's gone up between us, and he was mortified. He's going, "Oh my God, did I hit him in the balls? I think I hit him in the balls." And then I just turned around, and punched him, and he went, "Yeah, yep, I hit him in the balls." I mean, I only punched him in the shoulder, but I punched him really hard. He's like, "Yeah, I definitely hit him in the balls." That was. So yes, they had misadventures over the years. So as the problem with doing physical theatre, if someone makes a mistake, you learn all the techniques and you do all these really complicated and dangerous looking things without getting hurt at all. But if someone makes a mistake, Well, fuck, because AIDzee did lots of acrobatics. I did a little bit of it. Injured myself a few times, but AIDzee did a lot. Like he used to do like this traveling group. They would travel town to town to little uh, sort of town shows and whatnot, and they'd perform in the park, and they'd make apparently quite a lot of money. Essentially, this busking going town to town. And they're doing some fairly full-on acrobatics. Like it'd be 3-4 people high, build this stack, and as he said, one day there was a guy in the troop that he didn't really like, that he didn't really trust, but they were working with him, and when they showed up the park this day to do the thing, he could smell the guy had been smoking dope, and he was a bit worried. The guy's going to flake out, but the guy's going, no, I'm fine, let's do it. And this guy was meant to go up the top, like 3 people up, and you also get taught how to fall. Like if you have an accident and you slip and fall, you get taught how to fall to minimize the chance of injury to yourself and anyone else. And it's this dead fall thing you have to do. It's very counterintuitive because normally when you fall, your arms and legs flail everywhere, and that's where you get hurt because you put your arm out like that and you break your arm or break your collarbone from the impact when you fall. But you learn this fall where you do this dead fall, which normally knock the wind out of you and maybe bruise you and maybe break something, but normally really minimize the chance of injury. So anyway, this guy, who I didn't trust, he's called Stone, goes up the top and he fucks it up and he starts to fall. In and of itself, not bad, because if he falls properly, it shouldn't be an issue. Because he was fucked up and he's making bad choices, as he went, oh no, and he panics and he grabbed the person under him, like close to the worst thing he possibly could have done. He grabbed the collar of the person below him and pulled them at a really awkward, sharp angle. Everyone, instead of falling normally, got pulled by this fucking idiot and fell at all these angles. I don't think anyone got broken bones, but they got serious enough injuries that took them out of performing for a couple of weeks. So, yeah, never do physical stuff with people you don't trust, basically. Not any physical stuff, really. We said, do we do shenanigans or misadventures? Mostly shenanigans, a couple of misadventures. And I mean, stating the obvious, AIDzee much more than me. I mean, I've had the occasional shenanigan, the occasional misadventures in my life. AIDzee's life has been non-stop shenanigans and misadventures. And like I said, some of them have ended spectacularly with being shot or stabbed or whatever. But considering the scale of his shenanigans, he's got away light. Have you ever been punched by a teacher? No. I did go to schools that did corporal punishment though. So I got the strap. Like, stick your hand out and whack with a big old leather strap. But not actually punched. Are you leading into you have been punched by a teacher? I feel like you're building up to you've been punched by a teacher. And I haven't punched a teacher. I've never had a physical altercation with a teacher. Not even a particularly serious verbal altercation with a teacher. Minor verbal altercations with teachers, but he got punched out by a 2nd grade PE teacher while in 1st grade. That sounds all kinds of wrong. I'm not sure. You might have been the worst little shit 1st grader in the world, but I don't think it justifies punching you. Dendo, you got to go. Thanks for dropping by, and thank you for wishing good luck with the pitch. I appreciate all positive wishes. This is probably my only chance to practice to an audience before I do it for real, because I probably won't be here for a live stream on Thursday night because that's the launch night for the Webfest, so I'll probably go to the launch party. I'll try and make a video tomorrow, otherwise I won't make any pre-recorded videos this week. So I will try and make a video tomorrow night. Not sure what the topic will be yet. You know, you should follow me on the socials if you don't, Twitter and Facebook, and send me ideas if ideas occur to you for various video making ideas. You know, you got to hope that you come up with an idea that people are really. Oh, I've got one of those stupid things. How likely would you recommend this Windows 10 PC to a friend or colleague? Like, okay, I'm going to do the joke, so not at all. Nobody talks to their friends about operating systems, exclamation. That'll do, you idiots, Microsoft. Absolute fucking units. Okay, so I just felt like slamming Microsoft. Toriano, the day of the pitch is Saturday. It's between 4 and 6. My God, Biori, that story is so much worse than I thought it would be. You were slow. You were waving and calling for the teacher because you heard he'd be a second grade teacher and he looked cool. And he stormed in the room and punched you. No, is that guy in jail? That guy should be in jail. That's appalling. That's terrible. My God, who does that? You don't punch a kid ever, but really that's like not any provocation even. Even if kids are provocative, you don't punch them. We don't threaten kids because that's like all you can do. You can't actually punch them. Just make them think you got to punch them, and that will usually quieten them down. Yeah, I'm not surprised everyone in class was staring at you like, dude, you got punched by a teacher. What the hell? No, man, that is so messed up. That story is worse than I was expecting. That's really bad. Oh my God. I just out of nowhere, just remembering stories of various weird things we did while we were at college. We would do touring shows. We would do shows in the prison because there's a prison in Bathurst right near where we were at college. We would tour to the schools, which was always really interesting. One show I was in the toured schools at one point to make it exciting for the kids. We had a fight. Me and another guy did a stick fight like with broomsticks. And like didn't have the broom bit, it was just the handle, the broomstick handle. And with this swing, and we choreographed this fight that we could do with this thing. And the kids were always excited. And we were going to do it in one of the special schools. And a couple of people said, "Oh, I'm worried. These kids maybe." You'll traumatize them because they can't tell the difference between reality and an act. Maybe you shouldn't do the fight for the kids in the special school. I don't know. So when we got to the school, we talked to the teachers, to the principal. Look, there's a fight in the thing, and some people have said it might upset the kids. We don't want to do that. Do you think it will upset the kids? And they just laughed and went, nah, won't upset them. And it didn't. Like, we started the fight, and we're doing these big swings, and then you swing at the head and duck, you swing at the ankles, and you jump over it. We choreographed a pretty full-on fight, like clack, clack, and the kids went wild. They loved it. They loved it so much. They were the most enthusiastic. They cheered, they screamed, they cheered, they clapped. They thought the fight, they just wanted the whole show to be a fight, basically. Like a Puri, you want to be punched a third time by an authority figure. Hello, dangerously talented. Oh, the first one was a cleaning lady. Wow. What a grumpy cleaning lady. She punched you when you were in kindergarten because you wouldn't go to sleep. Wow. Oh, yes, you're right, dangerous talent. Tony Abbott used to do the boxing thing. It's kind of funny. That guy who headbutted Tony Abbott and ended up getting jail time, and people were like, "Oh, that's too harsh," you know. That wasn't. That was really fucking stupid. Honestly, physically assaulting a politician in the street, it's fucking stupid. That sort of stuff's not on. It wasn't a serious assault, so maybe jail was a bit harsh. The guy deserved punishment. That's fucking stupid. You can't be encouraging people to just assault public figures. Even if, look, okay, there are a few people who think Tony Abbott's a bigger dickhead than I think he is. I've made so many videos about what a piece of shit he is. But the actual assaulting him in the street, that's not reasonable. That's not on. That guy definitely deserved punishment. Oh my God, Bury, the cleaning lady punched you with the hand she had her wedding ring on. Dude, what is it? What makes you so punchable? Why do people want to, when you were little, when you're in kindergarten and grade 1, why did people want to, who wants to punch a little kid? That, oh my God, that actually seriously troubles me. Oh my God, little kids punching each other. Kids are shit. Kids are bastards. I still remember the bully from, well, when I was at school, we called it infant school. I don't think they call it that. Well, certainly, so when I was a young'un, there was school that went from kinder to year 2. So it was kinder, year 1 and year 2. That was infant school. And then primary was year 3 to year 6. And secondary was year 7 to year 12. Now in Victoria, at least where I live now, I grew up in New South Wales. Victoria, there's just primary and secondary. Primary is kinder through to year 6 and secondary is 7 to 12. But when I grew up, we had infant school, kinder, year 1 and 2. I still remember the bully. So, like, we're only 4, 5, 6 years old, but there's still this fucking psycho going around punching everyone. Michael Finneran. I still remember his name. Michael fucking Finneran. Should be absolutely hilarious if this somehow got to him. Because I don't know if he's in jail or dead or what. I've not heard from him since fucking infant school either. He didn't go to the same primary as me, so I don't know what the fuck happened to him. Isn't that weird? I remember a bully from like 50 years ago. My God. Yes, I think you hit on something. DT saying, sorry, Charlie, you were saying, should we pelt Tony Abbott with onions? I think Rick Sands right. He'll just catch them in his mouth and eat them. Puri, the problem, this is a Bulgarian thing, is it? Bulgarians are assholes. Bulgarians punch little, that's, I'm going to get that made into a t-shirt. Bulgarians punch little kids. And if I run into a Bulgarian who's in front of me, fuck you, man. I heard it firsthand. Heard it from my internet friend who got punched by a cleaning lady when he was in kinder, got punched by a teacher when he was in grade 2. His own words, Bulgarians are assholes, man. Not good. Video games, got computer working again. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, the whole Tony Abbott onion thing, that is still, when I think about it, surreal. Okay, lots of people like to eat raw onion, usually slices of it or whatever. Okay, lots of people like to eat raw onion. But that weirdo, without anyone inviting him to, took a bite out of a whole onion that still had all the brown skin on it. Like he didn't even like peel it as it's like even the onion farmers who gave it to him when he took a bite out of it, they're just looking at him going, the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? I go, oh, sorry, Fury, you think you had it coming because you were allied with the Reich. Oh my God. We've got to get past that eventually. Charlie, you may be right. Maybe Abbott's an alien. Maybe that's why he does. Maybe that's why he doesn't act like a human. He doesn't act like a normal human. He acts in a very bizarre way. Lion Spider, you went to a Christian Brothers school. They manipulated the boys into fighting every day. The Christian Brothers used to run the schools where I grew up. They all got moved out when I moved into year 3. So when I went into primary year 3, it was still run by the Christian Brothers, but they moved out at the end of that year. So it was lay teachers. It was a Catholic school. But yeah, the brother Theodore was the principal. He was a bit of a tyrant. He would do this thing like when there were boys who were in trouble and he's going to give them the cane, he would call this assembly of all the boys and to set an example. And all the boys had to be in, there's like the music crew. Now, everyone's in there, and then half dozen or so boys who are in trouble are lined up out the front. And brother Theodore with his fucking cane is there, and he goes, flex, flex, flex. He's like, right. And he first went, okay, Gary, did you do X, Y, Z? Yes, brother. Sorry, brother. Right, stick your hand out. Whack. Or maybe 6 of the best. That was the most extreme. 6 of the best. 6 with, and that's like 3 on each hand. And so you go, whack. Next one, parade him out. Did you do X, Y, Z? Yes, brother. Sorry, brother. Stick your hand out. Whack. It was like fucking public executions. It was full on. So I'm kind of glad they left when I was in year 3. Oh man, that drink is actually quite nice. I got it just on spec. Like I said, I've never seen this before. I like the bottle. I thought, ooh, big liqueur. Could probably make good cocktails with that. But that is a nice fruity beverage, and it's relatively low alcohol. It's like 18%. So don't get really hammered if you make a couple of drinks with it. Oh my God. Last night, before your time, one of the brothers would throw line boys up and throw cricket balls at their knees. Oh my God. Let's swap fucked up stories about corporal punishment at schools. Do you think the problem in Bulgaria is that you don't get over the mistake? Leader at the time, King Boris III, had to be coerced by advisors not giving up Bulgarian Jewish right. Well, that makes him better than some. I mean, the whole swaths of Europe did give up their Jewish population, notoriously in Poland and whatnot. I was watching, has anyone ever watched that show called Who Do You Think You Are? There's a British version, an American version, and an Australian version. There's probably versions in other countries as well. Basically, they get a celebrity and they trace their family tree, and yeah, they find out some stuff that the celebrity didn't know. And it can be, it ranges between kind of interesting and very, very interesting. And there's one, it was a repeat. I saw it again the other day. I'd seen it before. There's an Australian personality called Andrew Denton. And he's most famous as an interviewer, and he did some variety shows in like the 90s. He's in Australia on TV, and he's a good interviewer. And they traced his family, and his dad's kind of famous. His dad was a writer, Kit Denton, wrote Breaker Morant, The Breaker, that the movie Breaker Morant was based on. And then he found out there's a lot of Jewish heritage in his family. And I think it was his grandfather or great-grandfather remarried. Anyway, one, like his great-grandfather, the one descendant got out of Europe and went to England. And he was the only member, I think they were in Poland, and he was the only member of his family. All his half-siblings, because this guy's father had remarried, all his half-siblings were still in Poland when the war broke out. And he's going, and Andrew's going, I'd never heard this side of the family never heard what may have happened to them, and they're tracing what information they have in the town where all the Jewish people rounded up, and they looked at the records, and everyone got sent to Treblinka. That's a bad name because, okay, Auschwitz is the one everyone remembers. That's the most famous of the concentration camps. And they did kill a lot of Jewish people in Auschwitz. But it was actually a concentration camp, as in prisoners were kept there for a long time. Treblinka was a death camp. Treblinka was a death factory. Nobody was kept at Treblinka. Trains of Jewish prisoners would rock up and they would just be put straight and they were killing thousands of people a day. So as soon as he read like this whole side of his family got rounded up and sent to Treblinka, it's like, fuck. You know, you find out that you had family members who went to Auschwitz and survived. No one has family members who went to Treblinka and survived because that was not a concentration camp. That was not a prison camp. That was a death camp. That was just an extermination factory. Fucking horrific stuff. And you're right, Rory, definitely something that needs to be remembered. Yeah, going the same route as the Americans. Yeah, it is incredibly disturbing because, yeah, you always get accused of hyperbole. You say, well, look, my political opponent, I don't like it. They're just Nazis. And yes, the term is misused and overused. But when you look at the current American administration and they're doing stuff that's literally from the Nazi playbook. When seen circulated a lot on Facebook, a picture of a poster that's at, I think it's in Auschwitz. Maybe it's in the Anne Frank Memorial or something. There's this big list of signs of fascism, signs that fascism is developing, and you run down the list, and it's literally exactly what the Trump regime is doing. Like, I'll see if I can quickly find it. I'm just going to do a Google search for signs of fascism. Here it is. Okay. So this. Okay, this is apparently, among other places, in the US Holocaust Museum. But this is it. Early warning signs of fascism. Powerful and continuing nationalism, disdain for human rights, identification of enemies as a unifying cause, supremacy of the military, rampant sexism, controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government intertwined, corporate power protected, labor power suppressed, disdain for intellectuals and the arts, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, and fraudulent elections. Fucking how many of them do we see in America at the moment? It's really quite disturbing. And just the propaganda techniques Trump and crowd are using, like discrediting the media, calling the media the enemy of the people. It's really fucking freaky. Mm. Line Spider. Yeah, speaking of our local Nazis, Blair Cottrell. He has been surprised at how much bad flack he got after having a really failed Nazi rally on the weekend. He accosted some street performer because he's wearing a pink leotard. And he seems surprised that he's had blowback from that. Are you saying, sorry, Linesbud, are you saying Cottrell now denies he's a Nazi? This is a guy who literally said he admires Hitler. Hitler's post picture should be framed in every classroom in Australia, and everyone should study Mein Kampf, and he has parties on Hitler's birthday. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's saying, like, don't call me a Nazi. Yeah, okay. Although I heard in retaliation, because these white supremacists have started what people are referring to as their Nazi clubhouses. And there's now, I'm looking, someone was organizing an event, let's shut down the Nazi clubhouse, because they've got the address for it here in Melbourne. And they're trying to organize a big rally to lobby to have the Nazi clubhouse shut down. So, yay, that ought to be fun. Oh, yeah, Jacma. Yes, Jeff Sessions referencing Romans 13. The bit of the Bible that's been used over the years to justify slavery and genocidal behavior. Pretty fucked up. Catherine, you asked the big question. How would you get Trump out of power? And I say this a lot, I'm more than mildly terrified that Trump has debased public discourse so much that there's no coming back. I mean, when you look at it, like people say, just no Trump, which is a bad idea. But say someone did, say someone attacked Trump, say someone killed Trump. What are his absolutely unhinged, ultra-right, gun-toting supporters going to do if someone kills Trump? It's the concept is disturbing. But also, he's old and out of shape, and he stands, honestly, a better than even chance of just dropping dead. If he just dropped dead, again, these absolutely deranged followers of his would see a conspiracy in that rather than just the obvious, he's an old, unfit man with bad habits. Again, what the hell would they do? Then even if it just comes to the next election and he loses, they're going to claim fake, and he'll say it was a rigged election. And what the fuck, man? And but then even if he wins another record, serve 2 terms, even when he goes to finish his second term, what are his absolutely unhinged followers going to do? They're going to say, no, stay president. I'm seriously concerned. He's so far outside the norms that we don't know what's going to happen, and it's really fucking creepy as far as I'm concerned. Chapman, you're right. Even Reagan said racists were scum. But weirdly, in the past, even Trump said racists were scum. He refused to associate with David Duke, repudiated him publicly. But now as president, he all but fucking embraces David Duke and the KKK. It's really disturbing. Oh, everybody wants Charlene to send a prezi. I'm sure he can find it. I don't know where it is myself. Maybe if I do a quick search, I don't know if this will show anything out. Shut down the Nazi clubhouse, Chesterville Road, Cheltenham, Melbourne. Yeah. Seriously, just search Facebook for Nazi clubhouse. The 22nd of June, apparently. There's an event. I'm intrigued. I'm going to read this to see what happened. Yeah, that's who we're talking about, Mofo's fine. That guy's just a fucking, he's not alt-right, he's a Nazi. He's a Hitler-loving Nazi. And they have a Nazi clubhouse at 158 Chesterville Road, Cheltenham. And telling Kingston Council that they should shut it down. All right. So it's not a rally to do it. They're just trying to get people to sign a petition to do it. Oh, I thought it was a rally to shut it down. It's just a petition. That's almost too reasonable. But yes, you find the address. You can mail them something nice. Alrighty, that's that. Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, so we're rocking up on 10 o'clock. So I think I might bid all you fine people farewell. Thank you once again for your company. As always, it's been a pleasure and most enjoyable time to spend some time with you. Thank you for letting me do a couple run-throughs of my pitch for AIDzee Code Grey. I will spend the next couple of days practicing it, and who knows what will happen. Celtic King, I'd marry you, but I'm already spoken for. Sorry. And sorry, animal, you did miss. I'm just saying good night now. 2 hours later, I'm saying good night. So, yeah, I'm going to practice that, and hope you all look after yourself. Thank you all for all your positive feedback and good wishes. Um, I may do a video on AngryAussie one time, animal. Who knows? Who knows indeed. So, yeah, thank you everyone for all your positive wishes. Might be a while before you see me again, unless you maybe next week. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for dropping by. Look after yourselves. Hope to see you again soon. So, bye now.